The government had to pass a funding bill on September 30th. It's been 6 days since then, and the reason is that the Senate doesn't have the votes needed, which is 60, to pass this short-term funding bill, and that is why we have a shutdown. The reason why we don't have 60 senators approving this short-term funding bill is because there are Democratic senators who are concerned about healthcare subsidies that will not be included in the short-term funding bill. Today I'm going to talk about the details of the healthcare subsidies that the Democrats are concerned about. I think a lot of times when the headlines come from the media, they give a broad overview of what's going on. I believe that diving deep into the details makes the understanding of what's going on better for yourself, and it also gives you the impression that the Democrats are here to defend your healthcare premiums, your lower healthcare premiums, and I'm going to prove that today by going through these details. So without further ado, let's get started. I want to first start with IRS Form 8962, the premium tax credit. This is a tax form that you file every year, especially if you used Obamacare, Affordable Health Care Act. And I'm using it as a way to illustrate how the government provides you a subsidy if you sign up for health care through one of the marketplace exchanges. So let's go ahead and get started line by line. The first part of the 8962 starts with the tax family size. Let's take one for an example. You are a single person. You put one here, and then in these other lines you have your modified AGI, that's your adjusted gross income, and then from there you go to line 3. I'm not going to go through how you calculate the adjusted gross income, but the main thing to pay attention to here is line 3, your household income. That is your wages for the year. Then you take the federal poverty line, which we can see here in the Form 8962 instructions. So for all of the 48 contiguous states of the Union, this is the federal poverty line. And this is, by the way, for tax year 2024. It does change a little bit on tax year 2025. And then we have line number 5, household income as a percentage of the federal poverty line. So according to the instructions, you have the federal poverty line, and then if we go down here to this table, we see that let's say you go back up here and you make 4 times the federal poverty level for a family size of 1. So if I take out my calculator and I multiply 14,580 times 4, it's $58,320. That means that you make 400% of the federal poverty line. So let's say you made that amount in 2024. That would mean that per the rules, we go back to this is the factor, the applicable figure we were talking about. Per the rule, you make 400 or more percent of the federal poverty level. This is equal to 0.085. And then we go back to the Form 8962. We put that number here, see it again, 0.085. You put it here, and then you calculate the annual contribution amount, which is going to be placed here. We calculate the annual contribution amount by multiplying line 3, which is the household income, by line 7, which is the 0.085 that we determined here, that we derived from the IRS rules. We get that number here, we divide that by 12, and that's our monthly contribution amount. That is the contribution amount you as a taxpayer would contribute to your healthcare premiums. That would be placed on column C here. On column B is your maximum applicable lowest cost premium. This is something that is inserted by the healthcare marketplace, and it's the cheapest, lack of a better words, it's the cheapest premium amount you would pay. So you put that here. Now, if we go to this column, column D, it's called the monthly maximum premium assistance. This is essentially the amount of money that the government is going to contribute for you to pay for your monthly premium. And it's derived by subtracting your monthly contribution amount from that monthly premium, and you get this as an assistance from the government to pay for your premium payments. So those are the basics on how your premium assistance is calculated by the federal government. This is where this comes into the government shutdown. Per the American Rescue Plan Act, which was signed during Biden's presidential term, this was the table that they came up with to figure the applicable figure that we were just talking about. So this is the table for 400% and higher. This turns into the applicable figure, 8.5%, or you're multiplying by 0.085, like we discussed. Before this American Rescue Plan rule was implemented, this was the rule. So you had a cap of 9.5% at 400% of the federal poverty line. That means that if you made more than 400% of the federal poverty level, you did not get a monthly maximum premium assistance. You just weren't eligible for it. If you made above the $58,320, then under the old rules, predating the American Rescue Plan, you did not get any assistance from the government in paying for your health care premiums. The American Rescue Plan changed that, and the rule was that anything above 400%, you got at least the applicable figure of 0.85. So if even if you're making $60,000 a year as a single person, you still get some premium assistance from the government. This is where the rub comes in when it comes to the shutdown. The Democrats want these rules that were in place per the American Rescue Plan to not expire. The Democrats, as part of this funding bill, the one that's causing the government shutdown right now, they want these rules to be extended past January 1st, 2026. The reason why they want this rule implemented past 2026 is because that'll drive down people's premiums that they have to pay out of their own pocket. That's ultimately what the Democrats want here. They want to protect your ability to pay for healthcare premiums. By taking this rule away, you could be a small business owner, let's say a plumber, that's making $60,000 a year. You're going to have to pay the full cost of your premiums if you get healthcare through healthcare.gov, which a plumber that owns his own business is more likely to do. Those are the stakes here, guys, and that's why it's important. And this is a good way to illustrate. When you dive into the details, it gives you an idea of what the priorities are. And this is why I say I'm a Democrat. It's because the Democrats are at least standing up for small business owners like the plumbers and their ability to pay for healthcare premiums. By getting rid of this rule, you are not going to be able to more easily pay for these healthcare premiums. And this is only one of the disagreements that the Republicans and the Democrats have in the Senate regarding Medicaid and the healthcare laws under the Affordable Health Care Act. I'll most likely this week I'll be going over the rest of those disagreements. So that's the explanation for what's going on with the healthcare subsidies and the different priorities. Now I want to move to political strategy. Here is where I disagree with the Democrats. I don't think we should extend this government shutdown any longer. I think we should just let the Republicans have their day and pass this budget without without the extended healthcare rules per the American Rescue Plan. We should just let them have it. The reason being is because I think we're at a point where we need the people of the United States to feel the pain, to feel the consequences of their choice being electing Donald Trump as president, so that we can learn from the next election. I think it's politically better for the voters to experience what it's like to have to pay these higher premiums so that the Democrats can make a better case come 2026 and come 2028. So that's where I disagree with the Democrats, and I'm still not sure why we're fighting this to the extent that we're fighting it. It seems like their heels are dug in, and they're just going to fight it until the Republicans cave, and I don't think they're going to cave. So I say just let them have their day. It's politically better for the Democrats in the long run, and that's my opinion on that. So with that being said, that's our episode for today, and I will see everyone tomorrow. Have a good rest of your day.